Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the basic document declaring human rights to humans, and the declaration is applicable to the whole world. Universal Declaration of Human Rights is the document created on 10th December 1948. Human rights are particularly listed by this declaration, but otherwise, human rights are the rights available to every human by birth as being the intrinsic right of his own or her own. This document is created in the year 1948 and our Constitution of India is created in the year 1950. This document has a great impact in the making of our Constitution. Students, you will find that though this Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a part of syllabus for the subject human rights, but still we can find all those 30 different human rights declared under this particular document are well included in the Constitution of India itself. Most of these rights, human rights, are included in the topic of fundamental rights, and some of them you can find them in the directive principles of state policy. So, students will begin with the different 30 human rights which are declared by this document called Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Obviously, I'm not going to discuss all these 30 in detail, but all those 30 rights I'm going to tell you in nutshell. The students are particularly requested to see the colored part text in the slides so that they can understand what the right is in particular. Specifically, yellow color has been assigned to the text. So students are requested to see those colored text particularly. So going to the first, every human is born free and he is equal and he is having dignity and rights equally available to him. And every human with each other must have the spirit of brotherhood. Secondly, the rights and freedoms which are available to every human are the rights and freedoms which must be equally available without any of those grounds which you can see in this particular list like race, color, sex, language, and so on. Thirdly, right to life, liberty, and security. These are the basic three intrinsic requirements of human life. So, this is what Article 3 is saying. Article 4 is talking about the slavery and servitude to be abolished. This is the most inhuman activities which were carried on in the world in not many countries. Number 5 is the capacity of a person not to have the torture, any inhuman or degrading treatment or cruel treatment as such. 6 is saying about right to recognize or right of recognition before law. Sixth is equality before law and equal protection of law is particularly there. Then in number 8, right to remedy. It means if there is a violation of these rights, then the person must be able to go to the particular court or adjudication authority and get the remedy. Number 9 is talking about the rejection or there should not be arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. Every person is born free, so his freedom must be maintained. Number 10 is fair and public hearing, where the person must have the remedy from such an authority which must be doing the public hearing, fair hearing. Any criminal charge on a person must be fairly and publicly heard. Number 11 is the person must be treated innocent unless and until his guilt is proved beyond all reasonable doubts. Then number 12 is the list of rights like right of privacy, right of family, right of home, right of correspondence, honor and reputation. Then Article 13 is talking about freedom of movement and freedom of residency, whereby residency also includes the right available to the person to leave his country and to return to his country as well. 14 is talking about asylum from persecution. So this CAA is all on this particular point. Then Article 15 is right to nationality and also include right to change the nationality. Article 16 is talking about right to marry and right to found a family. So every person is having the right to family and his right to family is protected. Then Article 17 is talking about right to own property. Now this is about movable as well as immovable property. Article 18 is talking about right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion. All these rights we can well find in the Constitution of India as well. Article 19 is about the right to freedom of opinion and expression. Now, Right to Information Act is the outcome of this particular type of freedom, which is otherwise there under Constitution of India as freedom of speech and expression. Article 20 is talking about right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. Then Article 21 is talking about right to take part in the government. So the person is having a chance to contest the election with all those qualifications obviously which are required. Then right of equal access to public services. Now earlier we do have untouchability being practiced, so people were not allowed to go at every place of their wish. So this is what is the human right which is talking about that particular part. And here in the Constitution of India, we have done the abolition of untouchability. Then participating in election and voting in election is also one of the human rights. Article 22 is talking about right to social security. Now, therefore, the social security, it means the person will have protection of his status in the society. Then Article 23 is talking about a right to work, equal pay for equal work, just and favorable remuneration, and trade unions. All these are the rights available to the labor community of the country, and labor laws are specifically on this particular point. Some of these points are there in directive principles of state policy, like equal pay for equal work. Then Article 24 is talking about right to rest and leisure. So therefore, in every industry and factory, there must be intervals available to the laborer, lunch breaks, tea breaks, such and so forth. Then Article 25 is talking about standard of living. Now, therefore, being a welfare state, India has to protect the life as well as standard of living to the people. So the bare minimum requirements to every citizen and person in India is becoming the responsibility of India. Now, right to motherhood and right to childhood, they are also most important rights as such. So every woman got a right to become mother, and every child is having the right to enjoy his childhood. Article 26 is talking about right to education. Now, friends, you might have seen this particular right to education very recently being added in the Constitution of India. Then Article 27 is talking about right freely to participate in cultural life. Now, therefore, now India is uh, said to be the country of festivals, and obviously the cultural diversity in India is so whereby we have practiced this right freely to participate in cultural life even before making of this Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Article 28 is talking about to the entitlement of social and international order. So Indians are not only having freedoms in India but freedoms throughout the world as well. Then Article 29 is talking about duties to the community. Now, along with the rights to be claimed, in law, as we say, that everything is counted in rights and duties. So, while giving the rights, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is also giving some duties. They're saying that duties to the community. Now, fundamental right of mine should not violate the fundamental right of the other. That is what the duty is to the community as such. Then another restriction is that human rights are there, but but the human rights can be limited by the law passed by that particular government of a country. Then Article 30 is saying that the declaration is interpreted where state, group, or person individually, to them these fundamental rights are available, but the government do have the right on making these human rights fundamental one and applicable to everyone. So, students, these are the particular uh, human rights which we have seen. But specifically, as we have seen that our Constitution of India has made this possible, and whereby we have seen that Constitution of India is particularly giving us these fundamental rights as being part and parcel of our legal system. So every one of us are available with these human rights in some way or the other. But in India, we do have the Human Rights Act passed in the year 1993. So, student friends, this is all about the short introduction to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Be attentive, study well, and we'll be meeting in the next lecture.